Tonight, when you fall asleep, your dog will probably watch you. Not for a moment, not out of curiosity, for minutes, sometimes hours. And the reason is much older than your house, your bed, or even the species you call your dog. Most people assume their dog is just being affectionate, loyal, maybe a little weird. But the real answer is far stranger. To understand why your dog stares at you while you sleep, you have to go back to a moment in time before dogs existed at all. Picture a small group of humans about 30,000 years ago. The fire is burning low. The night is enormous, cold, loud with sounds that none of them can identify. They cannot afford to sleep deeply. Not all of them, not at the same time, because something is always listening from the edge of the dark. At the same edge of that same dark, another species is watching them. Wolves. Not the snarling monsters of fairy tales, just animals, hungry, curious, quiet. Standing somewhere beyond the firelight, calculating whether to come closer. For thousands of years, humans and wolves shared the same landscapes, hunted the same prey, followed the same herds. They knew each other long before either of them had a name for it. And somewhere in that long, slow encounter, something extraordinary happened. The shyest wolves stayed away. The most aggressive wolves got driven off. But there was a third group, wolves that were curious, patient, tolerant of human presence. Those wolves crept a little closer. They cleaned up scraps. They slept near the warmth of the fire. And over generations, they became something new. A creature that watched humans more carefully than any other animal ever had. Have you ever wondered why your dog seems to know what you are feeling before you do? That ability did not appear by accident. The evolutionary anthropologist Brian Hare, who founded the Duke Canine Cognition Center, has spent years studying what makes dogs different from every other animal on Earth. His research shows that dogs are extraordinarily good at reading human gestures, better than chimpanzees, better than wolves raised by humans from birth. Dogs evolved a specific superpower. They learn to read your face. A wolf will look at your hand. A dog will look at your eyes. That tiny difference took thousands of years to develop. But why your face? Why your eyes? Because your ancestors needed sentinels, and the wolves that hung around the camp needed humans. The relationship that formed between them was not built on cuteness, it was built on watching. In the ancient world, the night was the most dangerous part of life. Predators hunted in the dark. Rival groups attacked in the dark. Snakes, fires, accidents, illness. The dark was when you were most vulnerable. So humans needed something with sharper ears than they had, something with a better nose, something that woke up at the smallest unfamiliar sound. The wolves that came close to human fires fit that role perfectly. In exchange, those wolves got warmth, food, safety from larger predators. The arrangement worked so well that both species began depending on it. Your dog is the genetic descendant of those sentinels. That is why your dog does not lie facing the wall. Your dog lies facing the door. Your dog faces the entrance to the room. Your dog faces the place where something could come from. And once everyone in the household has gone still, your dog does something that almost no other domesticated animal does. It scans, it checks, it listens, and eventually it looks at you. Sometimes for a very long time. The Hungarian ethologist Adam Miklosi has spent his career studying the attachment bond between dogs and humans. His work shows that dogs form bonds with their owners that strikingly resemble the bonds babies form with their parents. Your dog is not a loyal soldier guarding a stranger. Your dog is bonded to you the way a child is bonded to family. And when it watches you sleep, it is not performing a job. It is checking on someone it cannot imagine being separated from. Have you ever noticed that your dog gets up the moment you do, even if it was deeply asleep? That tracking instinct is ancient. In a wolf pack, members coordinate movement constantly. A wolf that loses track of its pack at the wrong moment is a wolf that does not survive. Dogs inherited that vigilance and turned it on the only pack they have, you. But here's where the story takes a very strange turn, because watching you is not just about protection, it is also about love. And that part of the science is more surprising than most people realize. In 2015, a Japanese researcher named Takafumi Kikusui discovered something remarkable about the way dogs and humans bond. When a dog and its owner look into each other's eyes for an extended moment, both the dog and the human release a hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin is the same chemical released when a mother looks at her newborn baby. It is the chemistry of attachment. No other animal does this with humans. Not wolves, not cats, not horses, just dogs. A single shared gaze between you and your dog can trigger the same hormonal feedback loop that exists between a parent and a child. Your dog is not a separate species accidentally living in your house. Your dog has rewired its biology to bond with yours. So when your dog watches you sleep, your dog is partly standing guard, partly tracking your safety, and partly soaking in a quiet, hormonal moment that calms its nervous system the same way it calms yours. Now think about what this means. Your dog is the only creature on Earth that has spent tens of thousands of years evolving specifically to watch humans, to read humans, to know when humans are afraid, tired, sad, sick, or asleep. The cognitive scientist Alexander Horowitz, who runs the Dog Cognition Lab at Barnard College, has shown that dogs can detect tiny shifts in human breathing, posture, scent, and movement. Your dog knows when you are about to wake up. Your dog can tell when you are anxious before you say a word. Your dog can smell when you are sick. Some studies suggest dogs can even detect changes in human cortisol levels and blood sugar through scent alone. When your dog watches you sleep, your dog is reading a stream of information so detailed that human language cannot describe it. Your breathing rate, the subtle twitch of your eyes under closed lids, the smell of your skin, the temperature of your body, the way your chest rises and falls. To your dog, you are not a silent sleeping shape. You are a constantly updating signal. And your dog is monitoring that signal with thousands of years of evolutionary instinct, telling it that this is the most important thing in the world. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and seen your dog watching you in the dark? It can feel slightly unsettling. Two eyes catching the light, perfectly still, quiet. People sometimes wonder why their dog looks almost human in those moments. The answer is that your dog is doing something almost no animal does. Your dog is paying attention to you specifically as an individual, not as a generic member of a species, but as the one human in the room that matters most. That ability is rare in nature. Most animals see other species as either food, threat, or background noise. Your dog sees you as family. There is one more layer to this, the most surprising one. The British researcher Julianne Kaminsky has studied how dogs evolved certain facial muscles that wolves never developed. Specifically, the muscles that allow dogs to raise their inner eyebrows. Yes, that look your dog gives you, the wide-eyed, slightly worried, deeply expressive look. That look did not exist in their wild ancestors. Dogs evolved it specifically to communicate with humans. In other words, your dog literally grew a new face to talk to you. So when your dog watches you sleep, your dog is doing something no other species has ever done in the history of life on Earth. Your dog is using muscles it grew for you to look at you with eyes it evolved to read you, while standing guard the way its wolf ancestors stood guard, while releasing a hormone that mirrors the bond between mother and child. That is not just a pet. That is a 30,000-year-old experiment in love. And every night when you close your eyes and drift off, your dog quietly takes up the same role the wolves took up by the firelight when humans were still figuring out how to survive the dark. Your dog watches, your dog listens. Your dog stays. And somewhere underneath all of that ancient instinct, your dog is also just deeply attached to a particular human, the one whose breath it knows, whose smell it knows, whose voice it tracks across every room. Modern life has changed almost everything about the way we sleep. The fires are gone, the predators are mostly gone, the night is filled with streetlights, alarm systems, locked doors, and white noise machines. But your dog does not know that the world has changed. Your dog is running on instincts that were carved into its species long before any of that existed. To your dog, the night is still ancient, the dark is still enormous, and the human asleep on the bed is still the most important member of the pack. That is why your dog watches you sleep. Not because your dog is being weird, not because your dog is being protective in some shallow way, but because your dog is the living descendant of an animal that learned, longer ago than written history, that the survival of its pack depended on someone staying alert when others could not. And somehow, across all those generations, all those campfires, all those long cold nights, the role landed on your dog, in your room, tonight, watching the rise and fall of your chest under the blanket. So the next time you wake up at 3 a.m. and find your dog staring at you in the dark, try not to be unsettled. Try to remember what is actually happening. A creature that has spent 30,000 years learning to love human beings is keeping watch over you the way the first wolves kept watch over the first humans they ever trusted. The world has changed completely. The job has not. And tonight, when you fall asleep, your dog will probably watch you.